Hello from Leeds, it's Maxson here, and joining me today is Jake.
Hey up lads and lasses.
Yeah, he'll be showing me around Leeds today.
If there's anything that's Leeds and buses, I'm your guy. So we're here at Leeds bus station. We're gonna have a little look around Leeds. I'm gonna show you around.
We will be looking at buses in Leeds that are quite similar to buses in Singapore. Well, appearance-wise that is. So this is a Rightbus StreetDeck. It's an integral product by Rightbus, and I know what you're thinking if you're a Singaporean viewer. It kind of looks like a Volvo B5LH, doesn't it? Well, you'll be half right because it has the same bodywork, the Gemini 3 body, as the Volvo B5LH, but it's a different chassis. So it's, in that case, right, it's a completely built up chassis and bodywork by Rightbus. Now that over there might look like a Volvo B9TL to my Singaporean viewers, but it is actually a Volvo B5LH. It does have the same Gemini 2 bodywork though, that's why it looks very familiar. Now that's a familiar sight, isn't it? It's a Yutong E10. And it's called the E10 because it's only 10 meters long. So the ones in Singapore are called the E12 because, you guessed it, those are 12-meter long buses. Right, it's time to go for a ride on the Yutongs and we'll see how it looks like inside. Is it similar to those in Singapore? Well, the seats sure do look familiar, don't they?
Next stop, block 303D.
The seats are like really exactly the same, except for the covers of course, but like the seats themselves, they are exactly the same as the Singapore ones. Well, in terms of sound, right, it's nearly identical to the ones in Singapore, which isn't surprising because, I mean, it is electric and most electric buses tend to sound really similar. In terms of charging ports, you have your normal ones here, but also there are some hidden ones right here. Yep, Jake is going to demonstrate. Nice.
Works.
Yeah, I wouldn't even expect to see it there, you know, it's just, you see the icon, it's not that obvious, isn't it?
Last place you would look for one.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So that was the Yutong E10. I think it would be a good time for Jake to tell us why the buses here are green.
Because it's electric, it's very green. No, of course you're referring to the livery that Leeds City is, and it's basically a nod back to the late 60s when we had Leeds City Transport. They were a two-tone green livery. Not quite as bright and attractive as what these are now, but very, very close.
And now we are going on another bus. This one's Volvo B5LH, the one that we showed earlier. Alright, let's go. Oh, so this one's been refurbished. Get the same kind of seat covers as there were on the Yutong just now.
These seats that came with like a dark blue and purple seats to match the livery of first bus at the time. This is just one of the nicer refurbished ones.
The Volvo B5LHs were single deckers with MCV Evora bodywork, and they came to service in 2018. So this one that we're on now is actually a lot older. It's from 2011. That's why it has the older Wright Eclipse Gemini 2 body. We're gonna set off in electric mode now. And the diesel engine's on. So that was the B5LH, and yeah, it's funny calling it a B5LH because it does look like a B9TL. Oh, hello, there you are. Yeah, so it does really look like Singapore's B9TL, the face of it, but yeah, it's a B5LH, which you can hear by the hybrid system just now when I showed, you know, when it's set off in electric mode. Yeah, and unlike buses in Singapore, because you know buses here only have one entrance and exit, the ramp for the wheelchair is in the front.
Yes.
But unlike Singapore, it's manually operated.
One thing I want to mention with these older hybrids, the B5LH system, the way these are set up, they've got the I-shift semi-automatic gearbox, much like you might find in a coach. So when these set off in electric, it's only maybe the first two gears in electric, depending on how much charge there is in the battery. The newer model of the B5LH, which are the ones in Singapore, the Euro 6 engine, you can drive to around 20 miles per hour in electric only.
And now for the most common bus that we can find here in Leeds, the StreetDeck. How many of them are there?
There are 280 Leeds City StreetDecks, so
Wow.
that's not including these Bradford ones. There's another 20 or so of these Bradford ones.
These StreetDecks, right, they are like literally everywhere. Look at that. It's quite weird to see as well because in Singapore we only had one bus with this face, the B8L demonstrator. So to see like so many of them here, right, it's like stepping to a parallel universe. It's also worth mentioning that this one in front is a Rightbus StreetDeck, the integral product. But the one behind is a Volvo B5LH with the Gemini 3 body. So this is, I suppose, as close you can get as the B8L demonstrator in Singapore. Yeah, you can hear the engine sounds different as well. And now we're just gonna have a quick look inside one of the right StreetDecks. Yeah, one thing I realized, it doesn't have that glass, you know, on the staircase. Familiar interior upholstery again. So this is one of the oldest StreetDecks then.
For the Leeds City spec ones, yes. There are some on 16 plates, but they were US first Olympia spec. So they don't have the fancier high back seats, they don't have USBs. Whereas these do, they've got these. You've got USB slot next to you.
There we are.
Whereas the rest are all in the backs of the seats.
Oh yeah, like that one over there.
So the other main difference between the older StreetDecks of Leeds and the newer StreetDecks of Leeds is when you sit here, you can't look out of here because of this.
Oh yeah, there's a window missing, isn't it?
Yes, on older StreetDecks, Rightbus didn't make the glazed corners, but come 2018 they decided to add more glazing to the vehicles. You've got the corners, you've got the staircase, and if you have a look at this one that's coming down, you'll see on the top deck.
Oh yes, that has the windows. And here we are, as you can see, this one has the windows.
I can see out.
Yes, we can finally see out. Yeah, this is a lot more familiar because I remember on the Singapore ones, I remember like sitting here and doing this. Yeah. Well, I think we have come to the end of this video. We have covered most of the buses that are similar to Singapore in Leeds, but we are going to do another video on the Leeds guided busway and we'll see you right there. Yeah.